Hi there, my name is Maddie. I recently graduated from college, and for the summer, I'm traveling around the US to different major cities to explore and spend time with friends and myself. Subscribe to join the adventure and enjoy! While I was in Washington, the weather was getting warmer, and after spending so much time in the city, I just really wanted to get out into nature. As a result, in this video, I'm sharing my first car camping experience. I'm going to talk about why I wanted to do this, the planning behind it, what I liked, what I didn't like, and just the overall experience as a whole. This was a pretty spontaneous decision, so when we looked for campgrounds within 2 hours of Seattle, a lot of options were actually already booked up, but eventually we found Camano State Park. And if it wasn't clear before when I said car camping, I want to specify that saying yes, we are actually camping inside of the car, so the car is our tent and we'll be sleeping inside. Now you might ask, why would you want to sleep in a car if you have a perfectly good bed right here in front of you? Well, if you know me, I've been obsessed with the idea of van life over the past year. I found some videos last spring and it's brought me down this rabbit hole of discovering this world of van life. And it wasn't just the live in your car to travel portion of it that I was fascinated with. It was this mentality of prioritizing travel and being in nature. A common theme that I noticed even among the most amateur beginner van lifers was that they all have this drive to just go and just pack up and have fun. This focus on enjoying life while you can and if you can, rather than this go 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 mentality that we're often so caught up in. So it's raining today, but this is the day that we're going camping, so I'm on my way to REI to pick up some air mattresses so that we can make it more cushiony on the floor when we sleep.
Do you see the rain?
So that's what all motivated me to try this out. Especially with access to a car for this weekend, I just really wanted to push myself to try out this whole van life thing in a more small and safe environment.
I want you to show me. Can we get back on the same page?
Crazy. It's so big.
And why don't you talk to me? Let's start a conversation.
It's raining and no one's using an umbrella. That's not Seattle. I don't know what it is. Currently prepping dinner at home because it's just easier and we don't have a cooler or anything, but let me show you what I have. So I have some chopped broccoli, butter, and salmon. So what are some things we do to plan ahead? For the eating portion, I looked up so many recipes and blogs about food to cook while camping, and I realized that since we don't have a cooler or a refrigerator in our car, that would mean we would have to prep most of our basic meals at home, or we would have to eat something like granola bars for dinner. I eventually came across this technique called hobo packets, which is where you basically wrap the food in tin foil and then slow grill or roast it over the fire for about 40 to 60 minutes. I know, it's a long time, but you'll see how it turns out. Another thing that was planned was booking a campground. Since we were new to this, we don't have insulation or privacy blockers for the car. I just felt most comfortable going to the campground knowing that it would have running water and sewage. And even though it costed a little bit of money rather than living on free land, it was nice to know that we wouldn't have to worry about some of the basic needs like safety or water.
I'm gonna go write a million songs if that's the way to be. I'll win a class to beat them all and go down in history. I'll be the one to reach the stars, but only if you're with me tonight, 'cause that'll be the life. I said, let's go, take a trip downtown and go all around. I said, come home, away with me. She said, hold on, gotta take things slow, I can't just let go. She said, hold on, let's wait and see.
After arriving at the campground at a beautiful parking spot, we settled down for the night and started the long process of starting a fire. Neither of us have done this before, so it was definitely a process, and we definitely underestimated how difficult it would be to get the fire going.
I collected some wood.
As we were setting up, I felt like this was all super exciting and novel to me. Coming from a background and culture that doesn't prioritize or particularly celebrate doing anything that's super wild or out of the norm, this felt very different. So it was so exciting to be doing something that was so adventurous and so new, at least in my eyes. I followed different influencers, YouTubers, Instagrammers who are all living in a van to prioritize traveling, and I was super interested, intrigued, and curious about this lifestyle. How is it really like living in such a small space? Is the bathroom situation as complicated and as gross as it might seem sometimes? So this is the salmon pack that I had earlier, and we're gonna put it on the fire. And even after watching so many videos and reading blogs, nothing really beats trying it out yourself. Okay. During this trip, I feel like I realized a lot of things. And yes, I know it was just for one night, so I'm not an expert at camping at all, but I still want to share some of my realizations, starting with the pros of car camping. The first thing is there's just no need to set up a tent. It saves a lot of time, and you can just roll right up and get right in and sleep if that's what you want. Number 2, everything is easily accessible and packed into a small space, so it makes moving around just super quick if you need to get up and go in the morning, or if you're just rolling in at night and parking, you can get straight to going to bed or grilling, whatever you want to do. Number 3 is you're not afraid of rain. So during our trip, it actually started drizzling a little bit after 11 p.m., which isn't really a big issue if you have a tarp over your tent, but just being in a car made it extra simple because all we had to do was climb inside and stay there. On the other hand, some of the cons of car camping was it was definitely a really small space, and it wasn't super organized / there was a lack of boundaries. For example, our food bag was right next to the shoes, and you have to put some of the things in the front of the car, which means it's just way less accessible. The second thing was, maybe this was just our car's problem, but it was slanted. So we were actually sleeping on like a mini hill, and by the end of the night or in the morning, our feet were pressed up against the front seats of the car. So it was a little bit uncomfortable, but not too bad. Number 3, starting a fire is just so much harder than it looks. It actually took us a good 2 to 3 hours to get a decent fire starting, and like 9 fire starters until we had built something that could cook our food and the larger logs had caught on fire. Number 4, specifically, this car setup doesn't have all the necessities that I'd want if I was doing this more long term. For example, it had no insulation, we didn't have a portable stove, or even like a small toilet / bathroom situation or shower. This is the car setup right now. The front seat is things that we don't need anymore. Backpacks. And here are the blankets and jackets. And this is the air mattress. Good morning. This is the bed setup and the brightness. I think the most exciting part of the trip was pushing myself to do something that I've been interested in doing for the past year. I think a lot of times people have dreams, wishes, and wants, and I understand that can be hard for various different reasons to reach those goals, but I know personally that if I just don't take the steps and make those plans to try them out, then I will never have the opportunity to do so. So I'm proud of encouraging myself to try this out, even if it's just a small baby step forward into exploring this idea of traveling more. Overall, how do I feel about car camping? I think it went really well. I think a decent amount of planning was involved to make the process as smooth as possible, but either way, I'd definitely be more than down to do this again. Thanks for watching and joining along the adventures for this time. Stay tuned, make sure you subscribe, and see you next time, friends!